Welcome back to our conversation about the media with Northeastern University journalism professor Dan Kennedy, who you also see and read over at WGBH. Dan, last Monday, the New York Times ran a page-one story about President Trump's formal remarks in the wake of the mass murders in El Paso, apparently committed by a young guy spouting much of the same anti-immigrant rhetoric that the president and white supremacists have been spouting. And the headline on the story initially was Trump urges unity versus racism, which in fact did reflect the content of the speech. But even though the accompanying coverage was very skeptical and critical of the president and of his sincerity, the paper was bombarded with complaints, subscription cancellations, calls for the editor to be fired. They complaining the headline was way too differential. Was that fair to the Times?
Yes, it was completely fair. I mean, I have to say, cancel your subscription, fire the editor, that is a grotesque overreaction to the offense. But nevertheless, it was really a terrible headline. You have a president who was speaking out against racism, but at the same time has been engaging in racism for years now, and certainly the entire period that he's been president. And the headline needed to reflect that. And they did come up with a second headline that was less provocative, and that's the one that most people received.
They changed it to assailing hate but not guns.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. It's better. They didn't give themselves much room to write a very nuanced headline, and I think that was one of the problems, too.
But you know, Dean Baquet, is that how you pronounce it? The editor of the Times, has given some interviews about what went on there, admitted the initial headline wasn't up to their standards. But he says, you know, we're constantly under pressure to flat out call the president a racist, flat out use the word lie in connection with untruths that he says. And he says, I prefer to use those terms very sparingly and only when they're highly appropriate. And that's not going to satisfy a lot of the same people who complained. Who's right?
Well, I think he's right about that for the most part. I do think that even though the Times' coverage of President Trump has been very tough over the last few years, and really their coverage in general is just unsurpassed, there is a certain timidity in the way they approach President Trump, a deference that I don't think he's earned. And I think that's what a lot of the liberal critics of the Times have been picking up on.
Is it timidity or just restraint and, you know, standards?
Well, I think that it is standards that are aimed at how do you cover a normal president. There's a lot of coverage that they do that sounds like they're covering a speech by Dwight Eisenhower in 1957, and that's not where we're at.
One other quick thing before we wrap it up here. Tucker Carlson of Fox News went on a rant the other night about how white supremacy and white supremacist violence was a hoax ginned up by enemies of the president. A lot of pushback on that, especially since the head of the FBI recently testified before Congress about what a mounting threat this is. Should he be fired? What should happen to him?
Well, white supremacists tend to think that white supremacy is not really a problem, and that's where Tucker Carlson is at these days. You know, 25 years after he was a thoughtful, conservative magazine writer, this is what he's become. I don't call for people to be fired, but it was disgusting.
Dan, thanks for your time.
Thank you, John.
Appreciate it. Professor Dan Kennedy of Northeastern. That's all our time for this morning. Right now, I'm going to send it back over to my colleagues for much, much more WBZ News.